Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. This Thursday in 2015 is September 24th, and every year everyone knows September 24th is National Punctuation Day, right? You knew it was that, right? I mean, you had it marked down in your calendar. Everybody knows when National Punctuation Day, right, is. ... See what I did there? So, what a better thing to do than to talk about my top 5 games to play on National Punctuation Day. Of course, this is pretty much top 5 word games. So, without further ado, let's take a look.
Number 5.
All right, before I get to number 5, spoiler alert, Scrabble's not on my list. But what? Why? Well, Scrabble's one of those games that, like, it's really for wordsmiths. People that are really good with word games love Scrabble. People that don't, like myself, typically are not that enthused with it. Also, the people that like Scrabble pretty much usually don't really care about any of the word games because the Scrabble is the end-all be-all, and they're probably not watching this video anyways because they already know the best word game, right? All right, number 5, Byword. This is, look at this, it comes in a nice little pouch, like a gold, like a pot of gold pouch. And Byword is sort of a word game with an economic game built into it with a little twist. It's designed by Sid Sackson, who's known as like the grandfather of game design. This guy designed a bunch of games. He was way ahead of his time in the 70s when he designed a lot of these games. This one I think was done maybe in the 90s. And this is a game where on your turn you're going to be having letters in front of you that you need to buy, that you may want to buy or may not. And they come in a lot. So they're anywhere between 2 and 5 letters will be placed in front of everybody. Everybody has their own unique letters. And you're deciding whether to buy, and depending on how good those letters are, that will tell you how much those letters cost. And then after that, you can decide to build a word. So you're building these letters over time, and then you're trying to sell them. So you're buying letters, and then you're selling words, and you're trying to make more money on the words than you did to spend on the letters that you got. It's a very interesting thing. It's super simple. It's like, do I want these letters or not? Oh, cool. Oh, I can make this. I just bought those letters for, 32 bucks. I'm going to sell this word for 64 bucks, and I made some money. It's really cool because at the end, you know how much money you started with, and at the end, you see how much money you got, and you're like, oh, wow, I made a lot of money on these words. Yeah, so it's really cool, very simple. Awesome word game, and also there's a lot of variants in the back that allow you to change the way at the auctions, change trading, change buying other people's lots, lots of ways to customize the game to your liking as well, and that's Byword.
Number 4.
This is a traditional party game for 4 more players called Buzzword. Now the newer edition I think comes in a slightly shaped tall box with a green background, but anyway, it's a party game where basically there's a word, a buzzword. For example, the buzzword is pig. I'm going to give you some clues, and every answer has the word pig somewhere in it. Like a funny made-up language would be pig Latin. Good one. A sausage inside a pancake is pigs in a blanket. Pooh's playmate is piglet. Went to the market. This little piggy. Grocery chain. Piggly Wiggly. Blocks of crude metal. Pig iron. Now that one obviously is pretty tough. Looney Tunes stutterer. Porky Pig. And so on and so forth. And so you have a time limit that you're trying to get as many as you want. The cool thing about this game is not only is it fun and easy and you can play with a ton of people, one of my favorite things is you can just break this box down and just take a stack of cards and play with these on long road trips or where you're traveling on a plane. It's very portable if you don't take out the whole board and all the scoring and stuff like that. It's a good fun game with words. That's Buzzword.
Number 3.
All right, the next one is a much different word game than probably you've played before. It's called Paperback. From a smaller publisher, you got to get, I think from their website, look up Paperback game. It's not easily found right now, and because it just went out of print, now it's coming back in print. It looks like a book as well. This is a game where you're going to be using cards and you're going to be building words and trying to sell them, of course. But in this game, it's very different because everyone starts with the same hand of like R, S, T, L, and R and L and N, and a bunch of cards that are wilds. And over the course of the game, you're going to be selling your words, but then buying new letters with those words. And those letters now go into your deck. So you start with like 5 cards. Towards the end of the game, you're gonna have a huge deck of maybe 20 or so letters and cards. And each of those cards have special abilities that allow you to, change it to a wild or use it as a different letter or, rearrange things or do all sorts of crazy things. So you're buying these cool letters that are better and they have special abilities, and you're sort of comboing and building an engine of a lot of different letters. And every time you play, the deck is gonna be different. So it's much different from your typical word game. When you build your deck with these letters, it's quite fascinating. It is thinky, but there's options to have people help you with words as well. It's probably the most unique word game on my list. If you like word games and card games, you want something quite different like nothing else, everyone I've played this with really likes it, and that's Paperback.
Number 2.
This is another typical party or traditional party game called Word on the Street. It's my mother's favorite game of all time. And in this game, it actually plays extremely well with just 2 players, but it also plays equally well with huge groups as well. So it's quite versatile in that fact. So it's a big board and there's a bunch of letters, and each time there's a category like type of cheese. And the team has a timer, and within a few, like 30 seconds or so, they're trying to spell and come up with a word that's a type of cheese. Well, which word do you pick? Well, what you're trying to do is each time you say a letter of a word as you spell it, you drag that letter on your side of the street. And after that letter's been dragged 3 times, it comes off the street onto your side and it's a point. And then whatever team gets, I think it's like 8 of these letters off onto their side of the street, it wins the game. And it's this tug of war where you're pulling some letters, then they're pulling some letters. And as you get later in the game, you start to have to be focused. Okay, I've got to think of this. There's only 5 letters left on the board. I've got to think of this category, but I got to use these letters. It kind of focuses you, makes you think, do I pull the letters they're just about to pull off? Or do I really just try to pull the letters on my side? It's this tug of war of words. Very interesting and lots of fun. Word on the Street.
Number 1.
My number 1 is a game that just came out, and it might be very hard to find right now, unfortunately, because it came out and it's sold out everywhere, and it's being reprinted and restocked, so you might not be able to get it for this year's Punctuation Day, but hopefully shortly after. This is called Codenames. Now, this is a game, if you've ever played the game Password, where you're giving a partner a one-word clue, and you're hoping that they get it, think of this as Password on steroids. Now, this game plays from 2 players all the way up, it says, to 12. I think it's better with even more people. And there's 2 teams, and each team has a spy master or a clue giver, and they're giving clues to you. When you guess, you might be right, and we get to put your own color on there, or you might be wrong, and you might actually help the other team out. But even worse, there's actually one word in there that's the assassin, and if you by accident get your team to guess the assassin's word, you automatically lose. So it's very interesting because you're trying to give as many clues as you can, because the first one to run out of all their tiles wins. So you're trying to go fast and give clues of 2 or 3 or more and things like that. But you got to be careful because you don't want to be too loose and have them guess the wrong clues either, because it could help your opponent or lose you the game. The most intriguing thing of this is you're trying to also have these backward sort of callbacks where if they missed a clue earlier, you give them clues later and they can still go and try to get those ones that you missed. I might be making it sound more complex than it is, but man, I have not seen this game played with anybody who hasn't really loved it and played it 3 or 4 times in a row. It is a ton of fun. This is a very special game that it doesn't come around too often. Probably my favorite party game and definitely my favorite word game, Codenames. Well, hopefully there's some choices for you for National Punctuation Day, maybe some you haven't heard of before. Now, all of these games, when in stock, online are $20 or less, every single one of them. And some of these you can find at mass market stores, like I think Buzzword and Word on the Street you can find at like Barnes & Noble, maybe even Toys R Us or things like that. But otherwise, they're on Amazon, other online retailers. So I hope you enjoyed this and have fun on National Punctuation Day.